After watching the Season 3 premiere several times, all the evidence keeps pointing toward one person, Martha Walker. At first, the episode wants us to focus on the mysterious capsule hidden inside Juliette's soup. The obvious question becomes, who could sneak a message into the mayor's food? But that's exactly the distraction. The bigger question is, who knows Juliette well enough to understand that she wouldn't trust anyone unless they proved they were on her side? And there's only one character who has done this before. The writers have quietly repeated a pattern from Season 1. When Juliette was trapped and surrounded by enemies, Walker found secret ways to communicate with her without alerting Judicial. Walker has always operated behind the scenes instead of leading rebellions herself. She builds plans instead of speeches. She fixes impossible problems while everyone else is looking somewhere else. That history suddenly makes the mystery note feel much less random. Here's where things become even more interesting. The note doesn't tell Juliette everything. It simply says to leave her bowl upside down if she wants to know the truth. That's incredibly cautious. Whoever wrote it already knows the silo is filled with surveillance, hidden informants, and people loyal to Sims and Camille. A resistance fighter who barely knows Juliette might simply write, "They're lying to you." Walker wouldn't. She knows Juliette's greatest strength is discovering the truth herself. The note doesn't hand her answers. It starts her investigation. There's another clue hidden in plain sight. Juliette's memories are being erased through the medication hidden in her food. That means the sender understands how the manipulation works.
I had remembered something, but it's gone. And what, you're gonna tell me it's a dream?
Only someone paying close attention to Juliette's daily routine could figure out that her meals are the perfect opportunity, both to drug her and to secretly reach her. Walker has spent years outsmarting Bernard and IT. She understands systems. If Camille can use food to erase memories, Walker can use food to restore them. The episode also includes a seemingly unimportant moment involving supply. Orla tries to warn Juliette that supplies have been disappearing before she's interrupted.
But we worked with the suppliers, released a prudent amount from reserves and critical supply.
That scene feels too deliberate to ignore. Why spend precious screen time on missing supplies, unless those missing supplies are connected to the underground resistance? The answer may be that Walker has allies inside Supply who help slip the capsule into Juliette's meal without raising suspicion. Now the puzzle starts fitting together. Walker also has the strongest emotional reason to take this risk. Juliette isn't just another rebel. She's practically family. Walker watched her grow into the person capable of exposing Bernard's lies. If Juliette permanently loses her memories, the Resistance loses the one person who has actually seen another silo, survived outside, and learned the truth firsthand. Saving Juliette's memories is far more important than starting another rebellion. But there's one detail almost nobody is talking about. The writers intentionally make Juliette recognize tiny fragments of her past throughout the episode. Her memories aren't completely gone, they're buried. That means the mysterious note isn't meant to convince her, it's meant to trigger her.
I just want to ask about your memory. Anything coming back?
The message functions almost like George's hard drive did back in Season 1. Instead of revealing information directly, it forces Juliette to ask questions that her suppressed memories are already trying to answer. There is another suspect worth considering, though.
I hope you get more of your memory back.
Some fans believe the note came from one of the outsiders spreading banners that say, "The display is a lie." That certainly sounds possible, because they clearly oppose Sims, government. But there's one problem. The outsiders don't appear to have Juliette's personal trust. Their movement is ideological. The note feels deeply personal. It understands Juliette as an investigator rather than as a political symbol. That's much more consistent with Walker than with an anonymous resistance cell. The biggest clue, however, isn't the note itself. It's the writers' decision to keep Walker mostly in the background during the premiere. Great mystery shows often hide the solution in the character receiving the least attention. Bernard dominated earlier seasons because he was secretly controlling everything. Season 3 shifts that dynamic. Sims and Camille appear to be the obvious masterminds, while Walker quietly disappears into the background. That absence feels intentional. The less attention the show gives her now, the bigger her reveal could become later. There's also a thematic reason this makes sense. Season 3 is built around memory. In the past timeline, Charlotte suffers memory-related trauma.
Who are you?
In the present timeline, Juliette's memories are chemically suppressed.
Who are you?
The season keeps asking the same question: who controls history? Walker has always represented the opposite of that control. She preserves relics, protects old knowledge, and refuses to let the past disappear. Having her become the person restoring Juliette's memories would perfectly connect both timelines. So here's the theory. Martha Walker didn't simply send a note. She's leading a carefully planned operation to rebuild Juliette's memories one clue at a time. She knows overwhelming Juliette with the truth could expose both of them. Instead, she's recreating the investigation that made Juliette uncover Bernard's conspiracy in the first place. Every message, every meeting, and every hidden clue becomes another step toward waking Juliette up. If that's true, the mysterious capsule wasn't the beginning of the resistance. It was the moment Walker made her first move in a much larger game against Sims, Camille, and the algorithm itself. And if Walker really is behind the message, an even bigger question suddenly appears. If she already found a way to reach the most heavily guarded person in the silo, what else has she been doing while everyone, including the audience, has been watching someone else? Here's where the theory becomes much bigger than simply identifying who slipped a note into Juliette's food. The premiere quietly establishes that someone has been operating inside the system for a long time without the algorithm detecting them. Think about what had to happen for that message to reach Juliette. The sender needed access to the kitchen or the food distribution chain, knew exactly when her meal would arrive, understood how closely she was being monitored, and trusted that Juliette would recognize the message without immediately exposing it. That's not a spur-of-the-moment act of rebellion, it's a carefully rehearsed operation. Whoever organized it has been studying the routines of the people in power for weeks, if not months. Now look at Walker's history throughout the series. She's never been the character who wins with force. She wins by understanding how machines, people, and systems work. Back in Season 1, while Bernard believed he controlled every corner of the silo, Walker quietly repaired equipment, moved information through mechanical, and helped Juliette stay one step ahead of judicial. She has always treated the silo like a giant machine with weak points that can be exploited. Season 3 introduces the algorithm as something almost all-knowing. But even the smartest machine depends on predictable human routines. Food deliveries, maintenance schedules, cleaning shifts, and supply transfers all require people. Walker knows people are always the weakest link in any system, but the episode quietly plants another clue that deserves much more attention. Notice how the message doesn't simply say, "Your memories are being erased." Instead, it asks Juliette if she wants to know the truth, and then gives her a simple instruction: leave the bowl upside down. Why is that important? Because the sender isn't just passing information, they're testing Juliette. If she follows the instruction, she proves two things. First, she still has enough curiosity to question her reality despite the drugs affecting her memory. Second, she's willing to take a risk. That test feels exactly like something Walker would design. Throughout the series, Walker has never solved problems for Juliette. She gives her just enough to solve them herself. This also explains why the writers chose to reveal the memory suppression before revealing the identity of the messenger. If the note had appeared first, viewers would naturally focus on the mystery of the sender. By showing us that Juliette is being chemically manipulated, the episode changes the stakes completely. The note isn't just communication anymore, it's medicine. Every clue Juliette uncovers becomes another step toward recovering the memories that the algorithm is desperately trying to erase. In other words, the resistance isn't fighting with weapons, it's fighting with truth. There's another fascinating detail hidden in the way the episode is filmed. Whenever Juliette experiences brief flashes of memory, the camera lingers just a little longer than usual. The sound design shifts. Familiar faces seem almost recognizable before slipping away again. Those moments aren't random editing choices. They're showing us that the drugs haven't destroyed her memories, they've buried them beneath layers of confusion. The sender of the note appears to understand that. Instead of overwhelming Juliette with answers, they're creating small emotional triggers that gradually pull those memories back to the surface. It's the same psychological technique therapists sometimes use when helping people recover suppressed memories. Don't force the memory, trigger the connection. And that brings us to the biggest clue in the entire episode. The sender already knows the truth about the other silos. That's easy to overlook, because Juliette is the only confirmed character who has actually seen another silo firsthand. But if someone is trying to help her remember, then someone else must already know what she's forgotten. That dramatically narrows the list of suspects. It can't be an ordinary citizen. It has to be someone connected to Bernard's old conspiracy, or someone who has secretly uncovered the same information through years of investigation. Walker fits that description better than almost anyone left alive. The more you examine the premiere, the more it feels like the writers are setting up a battle that isn't between Juliette and Camille or Juliette and the algorithm. It's a battle between memory and control. Every authoritarian system survives by controlling history. If people forget the truth, they become easier to manipulate. That's why the algorithm doesn't need to kill Juliette. It only needs her to forget. And that's exactly why the Resistance's first move isn't an assassination or an explosion. It's a tiny handwritten note hidden inside a bowl of food. In a story about controlling knowledge, information becomes the most dangerous weapon of all. Once you connect all of those clues, the mystery of the note starts looking less like a simple whodunit and more like the opening move in a much larger strategy. The Sender isn't trying to rescue Juliette overnight. They're rebuilding the investigator she used to be, one clue at a time. If that theory is correct, Episode 1 isn't introducing a new mystery. It is restarting Juliette's entire journey from Season 1, except this time, she isn't uncovering the truth about one silo. She's uncovering the truth about all of them. And that raises one final question that could define the rest of Season 3. If someone inside the silo can secretly reach Juliette despite constant surveillance, who's to say they're only communicating with her? What if hidden messages have been passing between Resistance members across the silo for years, right under the algorithm's nose? If that's true, then the note in Juliette's soup wasn't the first message. It was simply the first one the audience was allowed to see. That possibility changes everything.